So I've always been a fan of small form factor PCs. I've always had this thing for like tiny PCs, just like really powerful computers in these really small form factors. And well, it's why I continue to use this thing, the 2013 Mac Pro. I like it because even though it's a 10-core CPU and it's quite powerful, it's still really quiet and still super small. And even though the GPU is like old and not very powerful, the CPU in there is still really capable for doing multi-core stuff, which I like. I've been trying to find a Windows equivalent. I've been searching for a very long time, and I think I finally found something that's really close. This is the Trident 3. So what makes this thing special is the fact that it's a very, very small computer. It's 5.5 liters, which is very similar in size to the Mac Pro. I'll pull it back in frame again so you can see it in comparison. Obviously the shape is completely different, but just in terms of volume, this is around 5.5 liters. This is around 5.5 liters. Now, the official volume from MSI's website is 4.72 liters, and technically it is because they're measuring the physical space it occupies, but I feel like it's 5.5 because I'm including the angular cutaway gap on each side. Regardless, it's a small case. Now this is the Arctic Edition. They make another version that's all black. It's like the regular one, has a GTX 1060, has a smaller power supply. Everything else is about the same, but because the GPU is weaker in that one, I waited for this one to come out before I did the video. Design-wise, it's angular and boxy. I mean, some people might love this look. I prefer something a little more clean, a little more minimal, but I like it just because it's small and because it's white and because it has a single RGB light for just, I don't know, you can play with colors and stuff. But overall, I think the design is good, just not perfect to me. The best thing about this PC is its 5.5 liter size. Now there's other ITX cases that are also really small. The one that comes to mind that's probably the most popular in terms of like small ITX cases is the Ncase M1. It's a 12 liter case. There's another ITX case that's even smaller. It's the Dancase A4 SFX, and that thing is 7 liters, but it's really difficult to get your hands on it. The MSI Trident 3 is 5.5 liters. It's really small. You can open it up. It's not recommended because there's a sticker that says you shouldn't, but when you do, you have access to the RAM, the CPU, and the GPU. You can put up to 32 gigs of RAM in here. There's also upgradable storage, but you have to go in underneath. There's an M2 stick, and there's a 2.5-inch SATA drive. Okay, I have to be completely honest. When MSI first sent this thing to me, I thought there's a desktop i7 in here, there's a GTX 1070 in here, in a case that's very small. This can't go very well. It's gotta be either super hot or super loud or a combination of the two. Turns out the performance is really strong. It's not the fastest thing out there, but most AAA titles, you're looking at wicked smooth frame rates on ultra graphics at 1080p. And some weaker titles will let you play with good frame rates in 4K. But most importantly, every single game that I enjoy playing, so Overwatch and PlayerUnknown's Battleground, those two games run incredibly well in the system. I'm able to stay near 120 frames per second with really nice looking graphics. Obviously works well with this because it's a GTX 1070 and you have the ports up front for easy access if it's going into a home theater setup or something. Video editing is also really nice on this machine. I did my last 2 videos on this, and well, I'll be doing this video on this machine as well. It's a great performer. So the big question is, how good is the thermal performance? Because cooling a PC of this size with this kind of performance is not an easy task, and a lot of small form factor enthusiasts struggle with that whole like, do we make it louder and make it cool better, or do we keep it quieter and let it run hotter? But these guys, they did a pretty good job. Looking at the temperatures, the idle and load temperatures are a little warm, nothing bad. It's definitely in spec of what Intel recommends, and I'm not seeing any kind of thermal throttling, but it does run warm. The good thing is that the fans are incredibly quiet. When it's idle, it's almost silent, but even under load, this is one of the quietest systems I've used with this kind of performance. They're doing this through good automated fan control, but if there was one complaint I had about the thermal management, I just wish this thing had user controllable fans. Like, I want to be able to ramp it up and down depending on whatever I'm doing, and it doesn't have that, so yeah. It comes with a mouse and keyboard with controllable RGB lighting. It's not my cup of tea, but they're actually pretty comfortable to use. It's a membrane keyboard. It feels nice. Even though it's free, I'm not gonna lie, it feels better than most membrane keyboards made by big name accessory makers. The mouse feels less awesome, but it's not bad. It's got a weight adjustable system, but either one of these peripherals are just kind of like bonus accessories. They're very viable. I just wouldn't go competitive MLG with them. The AC adapter is big, it's 330 watts, but it's just how the Trident is able to keep its size. The power supply is external, and you can always hide it to keep your setup relatively clean. The Arctic edition of the Trident 3 starts at $1,500, which is, in my opinion, a very fair price for what you're getting. I mean, obviously you can build a regular PC with the GTX 1070 for cheaper than this, there's no doubt. If you don't care about the size of your case, you can get similar performance to this for $1,300. It would have better upgradeability down the line than this, but it would be a heck of a lot larger. So for MSI to stick all of this stuff into a 5.5 liter case and include a mouse and a keyboard for $1,500, I think it's fair. So some final notes, I've toyed with several small gaming PCs. The Corsair one is an awesome machine, very quiet, very well cooled, but it's a little big at 12 liters. The Asus GR8 series, or Great, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, it's a pretty powerful system, but the fans are way too loud. And Zotac makes some small form factor boxes, which are pretty quiet and small, even smaller than this thing, but they're running lower wattage i5 CPUs, which don't really take advantage of the GPUs, and they're not as good for video editing, which is what I'm trying to do. So overall, I really like this system, if you can tell. I have a few complaints about it, like I don't love the design, I wish the thermal controls were a little better, and there is some bloatware, not a ton, but if you don't like removing that stuff, it is there. Overall, great system. Now, so most people who pick up something like this or kind of in the market for something like this, they would stick it in their media center, like under their TV, kind of like a console, like to replace a PS4 or something. I'm one of the weird people that I would use this as my regular PC because I like my PC small and silent, and I'm just weird like that. But for people that are just in the market for this kind of device, this is a good one. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. I'll see you guys next time.